Well, hello everyone, and thank you for coming on the Facebook Live. As you come on, would you please tell me where you're watching from and just let me know that you're here. Sometimes when I have gone on a live, I thought I was going live and it actually didn't go anywhere, so I had to do it again. So, today is one of those days that when I come up to doing a Facebook Live, I've shared that normally I don't have a preconceived idea of what it is that I am wanting to talk about or wanting to share. And today is a very unique day because I just want to share more from my heart, not from technique or strategy, or it's really a time to maybe just do some reflection about what's going on in the world, and not just right now, but what has been going on in the world. And so the topic that came to me is what can you, me, what can we do when things are falling apart around us? And right now there's so many different things. The sadness that many of us are feeling. A lot of people that I've been talking to are just like me. I've been called an empath. I've been called an intuitive, and and most of you know that I'm a emotional type of person anyway. And over the last few days, I've been that close to my emotions because of everything that's going on. And so many of you are feeling the same way. I remember one of the stories from Star Wars. Everybody knows that I just love Yoda and all the things that Yoda does. But there was a segment of the movie that the Death Star had just blown up a planet. And then at that moment, cut away to Yoda. And Yoda had this pained look on his face, and those around him said, "What's wrong?" And he said at that moment, he had felt like millions of people had just cried out. And I think that's what we are experiencing right now with, the sadness around what happened to George Floyd, with the reaction from the riots, from the being secluded and having the COVID-19 pandemic affect each and every one of us. And in different ways, there are a few people that I have reached out to that their businesses are actually doing a little bit better. There are others that, hi, Deborah, hi, JC, thanks for coming on. But for a lot of people right now, there is so much uncertainty. There is so much that is, as we walk through, we don't know what the next thing's going to be that is going to affect our lives. And so I've been thinking about what is it that we can do? What is it that we can change? Because when we look at how change happens, yes, there's normally and almost always a stimulus. But what is it that we can do then out of that stimulus for us to be able to actually affect change? And in my opinion, it's not going to be legislated. You cannot, in my mind, you cannot legislate morality, ethics, how we really run our individual lives. So what is it? What is it that we can do to really have a change so that, like for me, one of the things that is really important to me is creating a pattern, a process, both in business and in personal life, so that my grandchildren can have some of the same opportunities that I have had and that every person deserves. Every person deserves the opportunity, whether it's looking at discrimination, racism, whatever it might be. We have to change. We have to do something different. Hey, Janice, and it starts, I think, for me, is at one-on-one. What is it that we're doing? What is it that we can do to get down to our foundation of what we believe, how we do business? I've said in the past through the COVID situation that if you had a valuable product or service before COVID, right now you have an even better response and a more of a obligation or a responsibility to take that product or service to the people that you serve, because it's going to be even more valuable now and more valuable as we get through some of these situations. And there was a thought that I had when we get down and we're building, anybody that builds anything, a building, a statue, whatever, you have to get down to a foundation. And so, what is that foundation for each of us that we're going down to? What are we choosing how to live our life, how we're going to treat our clients, our customers, those that choose not to deal with us? Hey, Courtney. Hey, Kathy, thank you for being here. And so when you're building a building, there is something called the cornerstone. And many of you know that in my office, I am literally the odd man out. Everyone else is a therapist, and I'm the only male. So, but one of the things I have in our lobby is a basket of Legos. And I walked by it this morning, and I thought about the Lego pieces. And then I remembered that in every building, there is what's called a cornerstone. A cornerstone that is put in place for the rest of the structure to build from this one point. And what I'd like to give as a message today, hey, Nathan. Boy, it's been a long time, Nathan. How are you doing? The one point that I'd like to suggest for today is for us, hey, Ann, is for us to be able to come down to our foundation. What is it that we're going to lay for our cornerstone? That cornerstone that will not only serve us, but be able to serve others, our community, our extended community, maybe individuals that we'll never even meet. What is it that we're going to do in our businesses? What is it that we are going to do? Thanks, Ted, for coming on. And yeah, you just got off an airplane. By doing it the one-on-one, that one that I can touch however many people, like on this video, that I'm here, hey, Corey, I can touch so many people here, but how many people can we start a movement? How can we, Seth Godin's book, Tribes, what is it that we can share that is going to catch on fire so that we can actually change and, have a better humanity? Because if we don't, one of the old adages that I remember, if we don't remember history, we are doomed to repeat it. And by just taking the reins, asking for whatever that is needed for forgiveness within ourselves as well. There are things that we have, done in our lives that maybe we're not as proud of over a period of time. That's where it starts. If we can forgive ourselves, then we can forgive others as well. And so I don't want to preach here. Many of you know that I started out with psychology and theology, and so I don't want this to be a sermon. This is not about that, but it's about being human. What is it that we can take from everything that's going on? How can we use this now to better our neighbors, to better our families, to better the people that we serve? And in doing so, we can come through this much stronger and have an opportunity to start a transition to where everybody is in a place to live the life of their dreams. Because I know that everybody that has come on that I see you here, you all believe this. You all live this. And so together we can become stronger. Together we can actually make a difference. Together we can in fact impact change. So my suggestion and if we do an action step today, sometime in the next 24, 48 hours, would you take the time and think about your foundation? What is it that you want to plant the structure that you're building on? And then come together. I mean, I'm just so happy and privileged to be here and to be with you. And I thank you for being on the Facebook Live today. So with that, I just want to give everybody a hug. I just want to say thank you for being a part of my life. And I look forward to what's going to come out of this. And if there's anything that I can do, if you just need an ear to talk to, please reach out. I've always opened my email up to everyone, whether you're a client or a friend or someone that you've never heard of me before. You can reach out at Gary at GaryBarnesInternational.com. So with that, I'll talk to you next Thursday, 1 o'clock Mountain Time. Thank you so much for being here. Talk to you later.